Hey love, I'm Gena, an ED recovered, recovery-informed food freedom and strength coach, helping women in the messy middle finally break free from overthinking food, fearing weight gain, and chasing control. If you've ever felt too healed for treatment but nowhere near free, or stuck in that exhausting place where you want food freedom and your dream physique without spiraling back into old patterns, you are exactly who I'm here for. This is a space where we call out the lies diet culture never questioned, where healing and body goals get to coexist, and where strength, physical and emotional, becomes your way out of a session. I've lived both extremes: restriction, treatment, binging, rebuilding, and now I help women just like you stop the shame, trust their bodies again, and actually enjoy food, fitness, and their lives. So take a breath, you're safe here. And this is the Fit Without Obsession podcast, the place where your freedom starts. Before we dive in, I really want to say this clearly. This episode is not a call to lose control, eat everything in sight, or ignore your goals. If hearing you might not be eating enough immediately brings up fear, resistance, or a tight feeling in your chest, you're actually exactly who this episode is for. Most of the women I work with are not reckless around food. They're actually disciplined, they're structured, they're really trying hard to do things right. And yet they're exhausted and hungry and stuck, anxious, or constantly thinking about food. So today we're going to go into and talk about the signs you may not be eating enough, without blame, without labels, and without extremes, and actually how to start addressing it in a way that feels safe. This is about awareness and not having panic. This is about curiosity and really not, having more control. So I first want to go into why this even matters, right? And a lot of women assume that if something feels off, low energy or bad workout, binge urges, it means that they're feeling that they're doing something wrong. But often your body is actually doing the exact opposite. It's truly responding intelligently to not getting enough fuel. Undereating does not always look dramatic on paper, right? It often looks healthy and balanced and fine. But you don't need to identify with an eating disorder for this to apply to you. This is really about patterns, not having some formal diagnosis. So let's go into the signs that you're not eating enough and really examine if this sounds like you and see if this is something that's showing up in your own life. So the first sign is that you think about food a lot. I mean, a lot, right? That's kind of an all-encompassing thing that kind of goes throughout your mind all day long. You might be eating enough by numbers or rules, but mentally, food is always there in the back of your mind. You're thinking about your next meal, replaying what you ate earlier, planning tomorrow's food before today is even over. That is not a lack of discipline. That's actually just your brain responding to perceived scarcity. When the body is not adequately fueled, food becomes loud because your brain is like, you got to give us food somehow. We're starving. We need energy. You're clearly not giving us food. So we're going to make sure that you keep on thinking about it. And it doesn't mean that you're obsessed. It just means that your body wants consistency and safety. Second sign is you're tired but wired. You might feel exhausted, but also at the same time, you feel restless. You likely crash in the afternoon, rely on caffeine to get through the day, or feel oddly alert at night when you're finally actually trying to sit down and relax, which is so frustrating. And this is often a stress response. It's not a motivation problem. Because when fuel is low, your body compensates with stress hormones to keep you functioning. So if rest does not feel restful, this could actually be a fueling issue that you're struggling with. Now, the third sign is you feel fine during the day, but you overeat at night. This is actually one of the most misunderstood patterns. You might eat lightly during the day and feel proud of your control, and then all of a sudden you feel out of control when it gets to the end of the evening. And it's not because you're weak or broken. I know a lot of us think I'm overeating at night or I'm overdoing it with the snacks, I need more willpower. No, it's actually your body is waiting until it finally feels safe enough to ask for what it needs. So you're probably going through the day, you're probably stressed out of work, or you have a lot on your mind, and then you actually get home and you're like, wow, I can actually sit on the couch and relax and unwind. And that's when your body's like, okay, I'm going to crank up the urges and the cravings. Because night eating is often delayed hunger. It's not emotional failure. Now, the fourth sign is your workouts feel harder, not empowering. So you're showing up, but you're also feeling that strength is not improving. Your workouts probably feel heavy and draining or something that you actually dread. Recovery could take longer, you feel sore all the time, or maybe unmotivated to train. Fuel is information. So without enough of it, your body does not adapt. It really just gets stuck in the survival mode. And this is especially important if strength and physique goals matter to you, right? Like if you really want to have that strong physique or be more toned, if you're under fueling, like you are not going to get there naturally, right? Like you're not going to get there without the food to support it. Now, the fifth sign is your hormones feel off. This might look like you missing or having irregular periods. You might have worsening PMS symptoms or low libido. You also could feel emotionally just all over the place. Your body really prioritizes survival before it prioritizes reproduction. So when energy availability is low, your hormone health is going to often be the first thing that's going to be affected. And this is feedback from your body. It's not it trying to punish you. Now, the next sign is your mood feels fragile. Little things suddenly feel like big things. Decision making around food feels heavy. You feel irritable or anxious and overwhelmed way more easily than you did before. Low fuel does not just impact your body, it impacts your nervous system. And a dysregulated nervous system is going to make every single thing you do and think so much harder. Now, the seventh sign is you're attached to doing it perfectly. So maybe you're struggling with that perfectionism, right? There's fear around having flexibility. Maybe fear around eating more than planned, fear around listening to hunger cues instead of rules. And this isn't because you're controlling. It's actually because the control once made you feel safe. So you're trying to lean back into that. But the truth here is that safety built on restriction eventually stops working over time. It might work at first, but it's not a long-term strategy. Now, I understand eating more can feel fucking terrifying. I get it. And I want to go into, why it is and why that we feel so scared about it. And that's really, for a lot of women, eating less wasn't just about weight. It was about safety, like I mentioned, and just feeling safe. Like that control gave you that false sense of safety. It did used to feel grounding. Control felt predictable, and maybe you were praised before in the past for having more of that control. So the fear of eating more is not usually ever about the food. It's actually about identity and trust and fear of losing what once worked before. That fear doesn't mean that eating more is wrong. It actually usually means that eating less became a coping strategy for you. So we've kind of identified, some signs that you're struggling, like understood why it is scary, but I know you're sitting there like, well, how do I get out of it, Gena? Like I'm tired of it. I can see that in my life, but I don't want to be scared anymore. I really do want to push through and like fix this without having that fear anymore. So the first step to do this in a very, calm way that's not going to evoke more of that fear and, scaredness that you're feeling is don't jump to extremes. And this is not a call to go all in one direction, right? Like healing does not happen through rebellion. It happens through having consistency and trust. So what we're going to do next before like jumping to those crazy places of trying to go all in is I want you to add before you change things. So instead of taking foods away, look for gentle additions into your diet. And then some examples of this could look like you could add protein into breakfast. You could maybe add an extra carb to a meal that you're already eating, like something that you already like and enjoy, a recipe you've been following. You could also maybe add consistency in with your timing before actually adding in volume to your food and just making sure you're eating regularly. Because small, predictable nourishment is going to help start to build that safety back up. And the next step is to regulate before you override. If eating more sends you into straight up panic, like forcing it is not going to help you feel less fearful about it. Regulation truly matters just as much as your nutrition. So eating regularly, eating calmly or without urgency, like really being mindful, that is how the trust is going to be rebuilt. The next step is to expect discomfort, but also don't expect disaster, right? Like mental discomfort does not mean that you are in physical danger. Fear is not the same thing as weight gain. And your body does not need convincing. Your mind is actually what needs the convincing. So I want to also kind of give you a little bit of guidance on who this is hard for and like why this can be such a tricky thing to navigate. Like if you're hearing this and you still feel frozen, that does not mean that you're feeling that is exactly where support matters for you, right? Like you don't need someone yelling at you, like just eat more, but you really need someone that's going to help you feel safe while you're doing it. You don't need to go into this alone and you don't have to. Eating enough is not about giving up control. I want to remind you of that. It's about giving your body what it's been quietly asking for years. If one of these signs hit close to home, I want you to take that as information and not as like this verdict. And ask yourself, like, what's one gentle way I can support myself this week? Remember, you're not broken. Your body is just communicating to you. And learning to listen without fear, that's going to be where the real freedom starts for you. Thank you so much for listening to the Fit Without Obsession podcast. If this episode made you feel seen, supported, or a little less alone in your healing, hit follow so you never miss an episode. And if it spoke to your heart, share it on your stories and tag me at @thefitbean_ so we can spread this message to more women in the messy middle. If you're ready for deeper support, whether it's healing your relationship with food, rebuilding trust with your body, or getting stronger without slipping back into obsession, you'll find all the ways to work with me linked in the show notes. I'd love to walk alongside you in this journey. And remember, you are not too much, you're not too broken, and you're not behind. You can want freedom and strength. You can heal and build your dream body. I'm rooting for you always. Talk soon.